Hello everyone, Stephen from Alcohol-Free Lifestyle. I want to talk tonight about vulnerability and how alcohol and alcoholism can make you feel weak, vulnerable, and very, very beholden, dependent on others. Because I, in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, was very strong, was a leader in some ways, was in charge of quite a big team of people at times, and I was pretty much self-sufficient in my life. I was married, but I could run things myself. Now, as the years passed by and things took a hold on the drink front, I became less confident. I lost 90% of my confidence over the years. And in my late 40s, I stopped for a while drinking, got my confidence back, started again, relapsed pretty badly in 2014 and 2019, by which time I was seriously ill with drink, because it catches up with you. In fact, the average age for death by alcohol-related illness is 59. Some people obviously die much younger, but some people live much longer, but they don't really live much of a life. It's not like very much of a life being trapped with alcohol, because that's your life, isn't it? Home and the pub, really. So when I got to the point of being really weak, I was using taxis to get from A to B. I couldn't walk very far, if at all sometimes. And I'm talking about taxis from door to door. Very vulnerable, very needy in some respects. I couldn't go to the shops other than to maybe stagger in to buy some alcohol for the next day for some stock. We used to get some delivered. My company would deliver it with probably 3 times the price. I was always frightened it would run out. So I became dependent on them, dependent on the taxi drivers. Sometimes when there was a big football match on or something, or it was late night, couldn't get a taxi. I was worried sick in case I couldn't get home. And all these things make you feel very weak, very vulnerable. I keep stressing that word, vulnerability. And if you've been strong, you've had a good career, you look after yourself, and it's suddenly taken away from you, it's very distressing. Now, over those years between sort of 2017 to 2019, I just got worse and worse. I'm getting food delivered. I wasn't eating it properly. I couldn't go to the shops, and sometimes I'd have to get a friend to drop off a little bit of food, maybe, or even pick me bottle a few beers up. I couldn't get a delivery company. Sometimes I'd wake up at sort of 3 o'clock in the morning and ring this delivery company who worked all through the night to get cases of Stella, all this sort of thing. And I was using every trick in the book, really, to get a stock of beer, but I couldn't do it myself. As things progressed, it got worse and worse, health-wise, and I had to be helped in and out of the taxi. It's horrific what happened to me. This is why I'm on here, to try and help people. I don't want it to happen to you. And I got to the point where I couldn't hardly get into the pub. One step up was too much for me. Sometimes I had to pull myself in the doorway. And it came to a head really when I couldn't even get out of the seat one day. I had to get one of the guys to help me into a cab, travel with me home, and then get me back into the flat. That continued for a little while longer. I was still very, very ill. Hospitalised in 2019. Now, when you're hospitalised, you can't do anything for yourself. It got to the point where I was having to be fed, basically. Can you imagine what a come down that was? The job I had in central London. Horrendous. I was relying on nurses to make me a cup of tea, give me a biscuit, give me a wash. I didn't want anybody to shave me, so I got this massive beard. Looked like Robinson Crusoe on the end. It was horrendous. Lost lots of weight. I down to 9 stone, 6'2". Very emaciated, very deconditioned. Sodium level plummeted to critical level where I had seizures and first went into a coma, and that would put a 12-inch needle through my neck, trying to get the sodium up. I was in intensive care for a couple of days, in that hospital for 2 years. Couldn't ask myself, had to go and live with my elderly parents for a while. They had to move all my food. I had to use their stair lift for 2 years to get up to bed. Now, how degrading is that? All through alcohol. Nothing else, just alcohol. And it gets even worse because I had this huge hernia, and then one evening it split right in the middle, and I sort of started bleeding a little bit. I thought, well, leave it for a while. It didn't stop bleeding. So it was more or less the start of COVID. This I managed to get an ambulance, and it was keep bleeding. Got to an emergency hospital, and they managed to stem the bleeding, and they sent me home. Will you believe it? They said, you've got an appointment with a liver specialist on Monday. This was on a Saturday morning, and sent me home. I just lie in the same gown I'd been in the hospital with for 2 days until I went back to the liver hospital. Then they decided to have some procedure on the liver and this sort of thing. It's all worked out well, don't get me wrong. No transplant or anything, just a couple of little fixes they did. So basically, through all this time, I was relying on people. Patient transport people. I'd take me every 3 weeks to the hospital to get the ascites fluid drained off. So they would come at 6 o'clock in the morning, help me from the door into the back of the ambulance, into a wheelchair to push me 10 yards to get in one of these tailback ambulances, you know, the lift comes down at the back, strap me in like a baby and take me to the hospital. Then I'd get back in the hospital to get the porters or the ambulance service to take me into these wards where I would sit or lie for 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours, to get this ascites fluid drained off me, and they'd bring me a cup of tea. I couldn't do anything for myself. Just my school to do, that was about it. So I had a drain thing and to carry around with me. Now, that's vulnerable. And I do never, ever, I do not want anybody to get in that state. I don't want myself to get in that state, obviously. But please, please listen. If you're having problems cutting down, think about the long-term effects and get some medical help. Get some help from somewhere. Get in touch with me. I can help you. Because, as I said in the past, only an alcoholic can help an alcoholic, because the doctors can prescribe things. They're experts in the field. They're very clever people. They don't know how you feel. And I wish I had reached out to other alcoholics years ago, and they'd said this to me. I did try AA. It wasn't any good for me. It was more my self-determination. And the fact I was told that if I drank again, I would be dead within 6 months. Now, this all stems from moderate drinking in my 20s and 30s. Never spirits, never wine, so don't be fooled by that. It was lager. In a habit of drinking lager. Sometimes only a couple of drinks, and sometimes a lot of drinks. But when I talked to one of the senior consultants at the liver hospital, he said that it's because the liver never gets a rest. It's no matter what you drink, whether it's shandy, whiskey, gin, vodka, or wine. There's still ethanol contained in it, and your liver must be given a rest. The rest of your body must be given a rest from it. Because a lot of people die from alcohol-related diseases and problems, nothing to do with the liver. It can be pancreatitis, it can be kidney issues. The main one is blood pressure, high blood pressure, which fortunately I was lucky with, which can obviously cause strokes, heart attacks, this sort of thing, accidents. There's so many things that can go wrong with your body if you drink too much. And 7 common forms of cancer as well. So listen to this carefully, because as time goes on when I'm doing this channel, I'm getting a lot of interest from people who want help. And I'm trying to reach out to as many people as possible, because it's a big killer. It kills people every day in the UK. It kills 3 million people plus worldwide. Still, it's heavily advertised. Still, it's legalized. And it's so easy to get into a drinking habit, because a lot of people I know my age aren't here anymore. They passed away in the 40s and early 50s. And a lot of them in their early 60s are disabled. They've had strokes, heart attacks, all this sort of thing. So I'm not bringing you bad news. If you want to keep drinking, it's up to you. If you want to stop, you want some help cutting down, get in touch with me. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I've got an ebook out as well. If you want to have a look at the channel that's on there. But please get in touch if you want any help. And have a safe night. I'll speak to you soon.